Okay, we are broadcasting, and the channel is now live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We are going to play Dungeons and Dragons. Yay! I am Christiana Ellis, and I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Jenny Meltzer as Zaylene. Let me adjust everybody again a little bit more. Just do that. Starla Hutchison as Carolina Swift. Paul Fisher as Zinhorn Windborn. Mark Kilfoyle as Nedry Shiny Rock. And what's this? A new challenger approaches. It's an old challenger. It's James Meltzer. Yay! Yeah. And who he is playing is currently a secret, but, you know, I won't make people wait for very long because that would also mean making James wait to play because he doesn't get to play until he's revealed. So, it's a whole thing, but let's jump right in. All of you have found yourselves on the elemental plane of fire. You made friends with some Azers, which are basically fire dwarves. And they told you that they had previously worked for a red dragon, but the previously respectful relationship they had with this dragon had been disrupted of late with a mysterious creature that had gained the ear of this dragon named Onira, and this whisperer has changed the whole dynamic in ways that are familiar to you because this creature seems very much of a kind with Tanglefoot, the mysterious evil creature that you've currently got trapped in a bag of holding. And you had made a plan to infiltrate the hideout where there are currently expected to be salamander guards, salamanders being big fire snakes things with the spears. There are also other Azers in there who are being held captive, and you'd ideally like to get them out unharmed if possible. And there's also loot, magic loot that you would very much like to get your hands on, if you can, in a safe in the back room. But to do that, you'll have to get through the dragon's chamber, and that whisperer is in there somewhere. So you had already made plans with the Azer allies to return to near the entrance of this dragon's lair and workshop. And you were waiting for one of the salamander patrols to leave so that there wouldn't be so many inside awaiting you and perhaps to be fought. And so we are going to rejoin the Pocket Protectors now, their adventure already in progress, where we are going to watch, like a cartoon, where we see a ridge of rock, and one by one, little heads, boop, 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 pop up along it as you are all looking down at the entrance to this place, having just watched the Salamander raiding party leave. And so I would like each of you, the Pocket Protectors, to briefly physically describe your character and your current condition. Very nice. Mm-hmm. 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 And so, do you have Buster out with you? I'm going to suggest that you probably do because it makes it easier for me to justify the description. All right, and so at your side, um, also head sticking up over the ridge just to do what everyone else is doing. We have Buster, the gray render, who is grizzly bear sized, gray, rubbery, thick hide, six yellow eyes, three on each side, and a mouth out of nightmare. Just enormous, clamping, piercing jaws. But currently, he likes Zinhorn an awful lot and is willing to help out when it comes to biting and clawing things. Yeah. Yeah. So, Wuta, as you arrive in the elemental plane of fire in the fashion that you have so recently started to get accustomed to, that is what you see before you. You see these four individuals and the gray render looking out over a ridge, and so you have arrived behind them. They are. They went a little ways off to the side to find a place to hide the wagon. So they're nearby. You know where they are. Well, you know, you guys could figure all that out after we give Wuta the opportunity to be introduced. This new character you guys seem really excited to meet. And so, what do they see when they turn to look at you? Yeah, so I think they have just come over from where they were hiding their wagons, and they come in and they're like just coming back to greet you, and then I think that there's a moment where like one, two, three, ah, all right. They start speaking amongst each other. They are speaking Ignan, which is a dialect of Primordial. Does Uta happen to speak Primordial? Yeah. So they're making a lot of like popping, snapping, whooshing noises. They don't seem overly concerned, but they're definitely starting to feel like who knows with you all. I mean, they're glad they're on your side because there's just all sorts of weird things happen around you too. You all. Well, make an insight check, and then Uta, you may make a deception or persuasion check as you like, and then basically I'll allow you to interpret Zinhorn's role as appropriate. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. All right. So, as the others pile into the tower, certainly Uta, this is new to you, but you are watching uh, as Zeline pulls out what looks like a tiny dollhouse version, like of a tower. Not even a dollhouse, but just like about 8 inches tall. And as in turn everybody sort of taps their little finger to knock on the door, they sort of disappear in a flash of light. Well, like 8 inches tall is. I figured that you can. If you're holding it while invisible, it will be invisible. Mm-hmm. All right. So can we just on the map do? I will switch us onto the map here. Move everybody into their appropriate spots. Um, can you move your token, Uta? The little one with the red circle right there. Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me. That this is sometimes what happens when there are surprises, right? So let me. Here, let's see. I can make sure that your token has vision. How about now? No. Hmm. Well, it would have been. It's not on the turn order right now. I can add it, like just now. But so the is that it should be the. Let me just double check to make sure this is the. Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, this is this will fix it. All right. So the let's see. I think. Oh, Zinhorn's not on the turn order. That's who is missing. But so I'm going to leave Buster and Nedry and Zinhorn and Zaleen, their tokens kind of just down here in the corner so that you can all see the map. But currently it is Carolina and Wuta that are out exploring here. So do you turn yourselves invisible? You wish you could be invincible. All right. All right. So, as you are making your way invisibly across the stone bridge that gets you across the river of lava, I would like both of you to make perception checks. 23 is pretty good. 17. Okay. Okay. Um, So I think then what Carolina sees first is that as you are crossing, that there is a salamander with a strange sort of lizard-like beast of burden affixed to a wagon over to your left by the leftmost entrance to this place. They are working right now and don't seem to be aware of anything wrong. Um, that those are the only creatures you see at the moment, but there is various little shacks and sheds, as you can see on the map here. There's an entrance to the cavern, one to the left. There's a set of wooden stairs that go up to a wooden doorway and a balcony that is like one floor up from you, and then there's a cavern entrance to the right. That there's a set of little stairs and then a broader cave. What would you like to do? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and get some stealth checks with advantage as you move invisibly towards those stairs. Yeah. There's some good numbers for Wuta. 24 and 18. Yeah, you are both able to get to the base of those stairs discreetly. Now, I think you look up at those stairs, and it does look like those are some creaky ass stairs. Like, you might be able to make it up without causing too much creaking, but it will be difficult. You would be making a stealth check without advantage to compensate for, the difficulty. It only goes up about like maybe like 15 feet. Yeah. All right. So I would what we're looking for here is an athletics check from Muta. Yeah. 10. Well, so I think 10 is enough to do it, but it's the what it makes you kind of ungainly. You're not used to flying while carrying a person. And so I think the key here is that I'm going to need a stealth check from each of you to land on the balcony here without making noise. And this is not with advantage. 17 and 14. Believe it or not, so you both land, and you are certainly aware that like as you land is like thump thump thump, but you freeze, listen. You don't. Nothing seems to be alerted. You seem like you're okay. So, quick question: there is a platform with the door that's up from the top of the stairs, but then there's also the balcony itself, which has a separate door because it's not directly connected to the stairs. Do you land on the balcony or on the stairs? Okay, all right. Because there is a separate door. It's just that to get to the stairs from the balcony, you would have to go inside to the other door, or jump. Well, there's not windows, but there is a door, a wooden door. It's although it should be clear that the wood here is not like standard wood that you would see in the material plane. This is very sort of like sappy, dark, hard ironwood type wood. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get another stealth check. This time you can be back to advantage. Nice, nice. Yeah, you are able to you basically can the door has a little bit of a latch to it, but you're able to just kind of easily press that in so that you can open the door for just a little bit, and you at the last second have an instinct to kind of press on one of the hinges to suppress a squeak, and you open it just an inch or two. Inside, you see what looks like sort of a dining area, sort of beer hall that does seem like it would be the sort of place that Azers would lounge. But what you actually see there at the moment is a bored-looking salamander. They're not currently looking in your direction, but they're kind of just standing there like they're supposed to be on guard, but nobody's watching, so they're not taking it too seriously. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think what you also see through that peak is that there are three other exits from that room. One here, off to your right as you would go in the door, one directly in the back, and then another one a little bit to the left. And you, all of you, as a reminder, the players can see this whole map because they have been given a drawing of the floor plan by the Azers who lived here. Yeah, so I guess in that sense, you would know that the door to the right goes to where the salamanders have their eggs, and like where they sleep. There, and then there's storage straight back, and then a little cavern leading to more storage off to the left. Correct. Yeah. Right. So yeah. So everything once you get inside has a ceiling. It is underground. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's an interesting question whether or not you would actually weigh any less. I kind of think no. Sure, yeah. I mean, you're more compact. Yeah. Okay. So the plan is you're going back to the you and you're going over to this cave. Is that the idea? Okay. All right. So let's get one more athletics check. This time with advantage because you're going down, which is easier. Ah, there you go. Natural 20. I think that you are able to, with deft maneuvering of your wings, and then tucking them at the last second, you're able to get several feet into that little tunnel there before you even touch down. And so, yeah, so I won't even make you all make a stealth check for that. Okay. So here's a question that I want to envision because this is all that would be available to Uta at this point. Like when you change shape, does it make a noise? I mean, mm, mm, sure. Well, because like it doesn't have to be a loud noise. I'm just thinking is like right now you're in close proximity. It's very quiet otherwise. I'm not going to have the salamanders alerted to your noises. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, where yeah. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Make a perception check. You can either both make one, or you can have one of you make it with advantage, however you prefer. All right. So I think uh, what you hear as you're listening is that this room up in front of you, which seems to just have a whole bunch of places where various containers, barrels, crates, and so on have been set. There doesn't seem to be anyone in there at present. What you hear kind of echoing down some of the hallways is the sound of sort of like slowly rumbling forge type machinery. But not in this room, but in the distance. And you don't actually, like, you hear what you imagine is probably activity on some of those machines, but you don't hear any voices or anything. Hmm. All right. So I think as you get to the far end of this little storage room, you see that into the next room there is an area here. Just I will go ahead and reveal those. You've got a couple of you've got a salamander supervising a weary-looking Azer um, at one of those machines in that room up there. Yeah. Yeah, so there's another opening right there and then an opening up here. Yeah. So to get around to that next opening and to see into the next room would require another stealth check, please. One from each of you at advantage because you are invisible and it is actually relatively noisy in here. Yep. Yep. Nice. Nice rolling plus sevens with advantage. Yeah, so I think you are able to creep around, and I assume you're looking into this room right there. And what you see in there is a couple of Azers working on their own. They are attempting to fix what looks like a broken component in the machinery just a little down there, but there you don't see any salamanders in that room. And from your line of sight there, Wutai, you see that there is like this little tunnel up there. Up there has a set of doors closing off that area. Yeah. And so, based on the floor plan, Carolina, you know that those doors lead to the dragon's chamber. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm, mhm, mhm. All right. Yeah. So make another perception check. Are you sticking close, Wuta, or are you hanging back? Yeah. Just double checking. Yeah. What's that perception? Okay. Critical fail, huh? Um, I think that what happens is as you are, craning your head around to try to look to see if there are any salamanders, you accidentally bump your hip into a crate, and a little oil can goes tung 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 off of it onto the ground, and it's not loud, but it is enough for the two Azers who are working there to suddenly turn and look in that direction, and then they're looking like they're looking right at you, but frowning like, "What was that?" And so you wouldn't understand them because they're still speaking Ignan. So, but I think the body language is clear that they are investigating the sound and they are moving in your direction. Mm. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get another stealth check. Yep, because you are invisible. That's what you get for being invisible. It's pretty good. 19. All right, let me because they are actively searching for what made the noise, I'm going to give them an opportunity to roll. Okay. They are rolling. Nope. They did not get high enough. They are looking now down at the oil can, and one of them says, which is probably Ignan for must have been the wind. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're able to get all the way around the other side of the machine if you want. Uh, yeah, and so yeah, so there's another door to the dragon chamber right here. And then down this tunnel there, you is one of the other entrances to the lounge area. The Azer's kind of cafeteria, so to speak, and some more tunnels that way. And you don't see any other salamanders at the moment. Wasn't the plan to try to find a quiet spot to let everyone else out? Am I wrong? I mean, if the plan was to just try to like, okay, fair, okay, yep, up to you. So sorry, I'll stop intervening. Mm, yeah. So, Zaleen, are you doing something in the tower? We don't hear you, Paul. Nice. It would have been hilarious if you just immediately let Ruben know. um, yeah. Right now, that's the only way you know of to do it. But in any case, yeah. So that's. Do we have any business from Nedry, or are you just reading a book while that's going on? Talking. Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay. So back in the Dragon Lair. Mm-hmm. You. I mean, it doesn't look locked necessarily, but it does have a keyhole. It is. It's got some of that same wood, but most of it's got a lot of metal banding to it, and there is a fancy looking um, set of like latch handles. There is a keyhole. Yeah, that would be probably an investigation roll. Nice. You do not sense any traps. It does look like it is a fairly sturdy, but probably relatively simple lock. Like harder to break than to pick. Yeah, you can try it. It is locked. Yeah, yeah. If you don't have thieves' tools, it's kind of like we're. What are you going to pick the lock with? Your fingers? Eh, eh, eh. Mm-hmm. Make a perception check with disadvantage because it's not like in movies where there's just a gigantic keyhole that you can see your whole eye through, but there is some light coming through it, so you can maybe see a little bit. But with an Yeah. No, I think like you see a little bit of light giving you an indication that there's light in there, but that's really all you can make out. Hmm. Yeah. Alas. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Lots of things made from fire here. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. They're confident that the it was the wind inside this cave that knocked over their oil can. So the Azers you don't have to worry about. But as you are, I mean, like I mean, he's not like literally staying in one spot, but not meaningfully in a different place. Like he is watching the dynamic. If it had not already been explained to you, is very apparent. Namely, the Azers do the actual work, and the salamanders are watching them with a sense of importance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not even going to make you make a roll to toss a pebble in a general direction. Um, how about this? Okay. Instead, I will have you make a roll. It's just a low DC, but you know, if you have just dexterity plus proficiency, you can probably just you can just click dexterity and then add the proficiency with your with your brain if you want. Oh, well, there you go. Oh, that works too. With the so 17. Yeah, the you definitely managed to have this pebble uh, hit with enough force and velocity in the corner of that storage room that it kind of goes tink 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 bonk 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 bonk. And so it makes significant noise. And definitely the salamander and the A's are both kind of turned to look at that, and then the salamander is going down to investigate. Mm-hmm. Sneak around, sneak around. Let's get more stealth checks. Yes. All right. Pretty good. Yep. You appear to be undetected, and there are another set of doors. They seem to be of the same design. Investigation check. Well, if there are any, you don't see them. It's basically the same. Well, to look through the keyhole, yeah. um, uh, you lean too close against the door, and you. Well, no, I was going to say you kind of burn yourself against the metal of the lock on your face, and what you're going to realize later is that you burned your eyebrow off. Take 1 point of fire damage. Yeah. Uh, the handle turns. Okay. Well, go ahead and make another stealth check for opening the door. That's pretty good. Yeah. What you see is, of course, what you see on the map here. But for those who don't see the map, you see an enormous chamber, half of which is full of a big pool of lava, and the large stone central area in there on the far side of the lava seems to be engraved with the sign of a like a dragon-like carving. There's a couple of stone bridges that go over the lava, and you can see on the various across the lava there's various other tunnels leading here and there, but you would of course uh, need to go over in those directions to get there. But yeah, so without crossing the bridges over the lava, there's no way to go anywhere else from where you are. No, you don't see a dragon. Hmm. You hear the salamander saying something in a frustrated tone, moving approximately back in your direction. All right, let's get some more stealth checks. Well, you are definitely, yeah. All right. Hmm? Looks like, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So I think what happens this time is that you are able to, the door had already been opened and you're able to slip through and you're trying to close it, but you realize that the handle on this side doesn't have like the handle to hold down. And so there's no way to close the door completely without the latch clicking shut on the other side. And so you kind of discover that at the last second that when you push the door closed, it goes ka-chunk. No, but you can. It opens like you pulled it open from the other side, so you would push it open from this side. But the yeah, so I'll invite you to both make a perception check now. No, just regular. Okay. All right. Uh, with a 21, you see that although this lava is kind of sort of roiling and flowing and bubbling already, you see some of it kind of on the other side, on the far side of it. You see it shifting around a little bit, like something's moving underneath. Wait, so go where you're going. Like any, yeah, to move anywhere from where you are requires more stealth checks. Hmm. Okay. Okay, so go ahead and make stealth check to get over there. Okay. Um, the like Carolina, I think that you maybe don't even hear anything, just that Uta had kind of left, but you see that the lava is kind of swirling some more. You still see no sign of anything else except that something is obviously moving under the lava. Okay. Okay, so from right there, like where. Mhm. Okay. Well, make a perception check. Okay. Yeah, you see, I think you see a couple of things. One is that there's a big, like, metal thing that might be like a container of some kind, but it looks very fancy. There's also a great big fountain that seems to be continually flowing molten gold. It's kind of distracting. And it's distracting enough that you don't notice the glyph on the floor that you step on, um, which requires you to make a dexterity saving throw. Mm-hmm. Okay. With a 10, that's a failure. And so as the floor detonates under you with an explosive magical detonation, you're going to take 25 fire damage, and it makes an extremely loud sound. And we're going to roll initiative. Actually, I think technically you to yeah to for the invisibility, like, yeah. So it's her concentration, and you didn't attack or cast a spell. So I think you are still invisible. Yeah, but yeah, we're gonna roll initiative at this time. It's so funny because it's like you were checking for traps on the doors and everything too, and it was just kind of like, well. All right. So, can we get initiative for Zinhorn and Nedry? And yeah, everyone go ahead and roll, because I had imagined we're gonna be enlisting everyone else in the moment here. And it is also theoretically on how you handle this. You know what? How about this? Perhaps go ahead and get the rolls for initiative in there, uh, and then we will see how things actually develop. Um, I can let me roll for Buster. Okay. There we go. All right. So, uh, the first thing that happens upon that, that detonation happening, I've got a duplicate Nedry up here in this corner. I'm gonna. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Uh, All right, good. I was almost deleted it. So the other thing that happens as you are sort of find yourself, you know, catching your, you know, catching your breath there in this. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Is that you now see that there is a creature in this room that you didn't see. It is tall. It's like 8 or 9 feet tall, but kind of hunched. Got big shoulders and a great big head with an almost like frog-like face, but like shark-like teeth. Big long claws on its hands, um, and it seems on this turn to be heading right for you, or at the very least for the place that you just blew up on the floor. And it is going to use its action to make a perception check. And it rolls super low. So I think what happens here is that you, with your dexterity saving throw, manage to kind of end up landing a little bit further into the tunnel, we'll say, like right there. And so this thing is coming here and it's looking down at this little sigil on the floor that blew up. And so at the moment, it doesn't seem to have noticed you. Okay, so everyone in the tower currently is going to be, skipped in the initiative order because they don't know anything's happening yet. But Carolina, that means it's your turn next. You certainly would have, you knew Wuta was going off in that direction, and then just from that little tunnel where you sent him down, kaboom! Yes. Yes, and it seems more vigorous now. I think because I think because you cast it at the same time, I think it's one spell. And you're either maintaining a concentration on it or not. Here's a question. Go ahead and make a nature check for me. Okay. 22. Okay. That's pretty good. And so here's the thing. Dragons sometimes have extraordinary senses. And based on your knowledge of them and the age that you believe this one to be, based on what the Azers said, you believe that this one would not likely have true sight yet. But it would still have extraordinarily sharp senses. Under normal circumstances, you don't know its current condition. You don't know if Wuta's in there in a pile of bloody chunks. Yeah. Yep. Make Yep, make another stealth check. Still with advantage. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think from there, you don't see Wuta, but you do see this thing looking down at the small crater that's on the floor of the tunnel there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So, a number of other turns go by where you're not aware of what's happening, but then, the dragon emerges from the lava. Not all the way, but you see its head and long neck and kind of its shoulders emerge from the lava there, and it is peering in the direction of that tunnel. And you can see. Make a perception check, Carolina. Okay. Uh, its scales are still sort of hot and glowing from the lava, but it does it first of all, it seems like it's moving slower than you might have expected for a dragon in its lair to suddenly think that there might be an intruder. Um, it's got some kind of it's hard to tell, but it almost looks like it has black ropes kind of wrapped around it like jewelry almost. But you know they can't just be ordinary ropes because it just emerged from lava. But that's kind of what it makes you look you think of as you look at it. But it emerges and calls out in Draconic. Do either Wuta or Carolina speak Draconic? Okay, so you don't know what it says then, but it sounds like, again, I think you could draw a reasonable conclusion that it was probably something to the effect of, "Hey, what's happening? Who set off my trap?" That sort of thing. Yeah, right. So it has not it has not come all the way out of the lava. It has not taken any other action, but you can definitely see it now in there. Okay, and that makes it your turn, Wuta. You've got this big red frog monster looking down at you. Yes. Okay. Okay. Um, what that's going to do is you disappear into the tower, and the tower is going to go clunk, clunk, onto the ground. So, yeah. So, yes, everyone else in the tower, Wuta suddenly appears looking a little bit singed. Yes, you're right. You know what? Yeah, so I think no, I think he would be still invisible. So yeah, I think what you hear the door activate though, and then Wuta can say whatever he would say. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think you saw the lava swirling around, but you don't have line of sight on where it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, I think in this context, the equivalent of your turn would certainly be over at this point. It would be Buster's turn right now, but he would just be waiting for Zinhorn to give him an order. Nedry. Okay. Okay. I mean, do you stay in the tower? Okay. All right. So you can poof out of the tower. At which point you are not invisible, um, but you can pick the tower up off of the floor before the this creature comes over to say, "What is this thing?" Um, hmm? Yes. The this thing in the center is not all the way to the ceiling. So you see it kind of stand towering over that. I think that's your whole turn, right? Unless you want to move a little more. Okay. Yeah. This fountain, by the way, like I said, it is molten gold. It is extremely hot. I could look up the actual temperature of molten gold, but the point is you don't want to touch it probably. You ever spill candle wax on your hand? Probably worse than that. Yeah. Okay, so that makes it this creature's turn again. At which point it comes back over around this way, and it's approaching you, Nedry, not in more of a curious way than an aggressive way, and it just looks down at you with fascination, and you hear in your head a voice saying, "What a charming little gnome. How in the world did you find yourself here? I hope that trap didn't hurt you." Okay. So at this time, I think this creature, which we'll call the Whisperer, how about that? Seems to be moving into a position where it would be difficult for you to get by her. You suspect she might be prepared to try to grab you if you do, but otherwise she has not taken any other action at this time. Zinhorn, you're muted again. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm just going to move tokens up there. Okay. So Buster will come out because he's got his own initiative. So he's not out yet. And neither is Aileen. But now Zinhorn pops out. And then both Nedry and Zinhorn hear, psychically, "Oh my." So Zinhorn, yeah, you have your action and stuff still. Okay. Just going right for it, huh? I don't blame you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Nice. That'll hit. So for sure. So go ahead and roll the damage. And do you engage its secondary functions? Mm-hmm. Which is mostly just going to be the Whisperer here. That's not right. No, I mean it's not like it's so. Yeah, well, it's like something's off there because well, remember it's a crit, right? So the and then you've got divine strike set up. So if we're so yeah, the rolls did something very strange there. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Well, no, because the first two eights, that's one-handed versus two-handed, which doesn't matter in this context. But then there's another D8 for divine strike damage, um, and so roll another D6 and another D8. Okay. So that would be 19, and then what is its additional function? Like, it's okay. Okay. Hmm. Yes. Okay. So you roll the cold damage. Okay. Sorry. I know I gave you that item, but the roll 20 rolls are all confusing. Like that something's not right in the way that that's going through. Um, yeah. Okay. I get that part. Okay. Roll 2d6, and we're adding that to the 19. Although the 2d6 is cold damage, which you don't know if that's going to have the same effectiveness. No, because it's a bonus. It's a secondary bonus action thing. It's not part of the original attack. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then, yeah, it's good. So, yeah, you did 26 damage, which is pretty good. Um, and it snarls, clutching the spear that is drilled into its shoulder. It recoils from you. All right. You no, just used a bonus action to turn the drill on. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Carolina. Well, it had its turn. It had its turn, and I told you what it did. It's in initiative. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It does. And what you are dealing with here is certainly above a level 4 spell. So what I need you to do is, you know what? I'm not going to have you make a check. I'm just going to tell you. Unfortunately, it does not work. I'll allow you to make an Arcana check though to try to understand maybe why it didn't work. Hmm. Yeah, you're not sure. Like you feel the spell discharge, but it's just it 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 kind of just like bounced right off. All right. Okay, Zaleen, it's your turn. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, I still have not made the little key. Um, I'll use the little torch token if it will give it to me. There we go. I will make it purple and give it to. Okay, so you should have this little purple torch to put wherever you want. Okay. Yeah, that hits. Okay. I mean, it's not a heavy hit, but it does its job. Bonk. Okay. Um. Yeah. Hmm. Nice. Okay. At this point, it is the salamander's turn, and I think one of them kind of peeks its head through these doors to kind of try to get a sense of what's happening. The Azers have a turn, but you don't see any of them at the moment. And now it is the dragon's turn, and um, Carolina, please make a dexterity saving throw for me. That's a failure. And so, as the dragon opens its mouth and heaves a 60-foot cone of fire in your direction, you are going to take 65 fire damage. Unconscious? Yeah. So all of you who are out would certainly be aware that there's suddenly flooded with fire in that area there. Um. All right, Wuta. It is your turn. No, no. You're essentially just move. It's just movement, so you can pop back through. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll just put you right there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Dex saving throw. That's a critical fail. Nice. Ah, eh. Is there any other effect of that one? Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, and I think that like everything is sort of just like freshly smoking, and you see Carolina unconscious, badly burned, um, in its wake. Okay. It is Buster's turn, and I'm going to need Zaleen and Zinhorn and Nedry to make dexterity saving throws. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. As Buster uh, explodes out of this door, the I think Zinhorn and Nedry are both knocked prone and currently pinned under Buster's bulk. However, Buster is going to go ahead and is like, "Hey, look, a big monstrous thing laying on the ground right there," and is going to go for it with a bite. Um, that's going to hit and do a fair amount of damage. It's already prone, so that doesn't matter. Um, and then two claw attacks. Um, These are at advantage because it's prone. So yeah, 26. That'll do it. And then okay for another 23. And then third claw attack with advantage. Yeah, that's going to be another hit. And to do another... yeah, so I think from your prone position, Zaleen, Zinhorn, and Nedry, you watch as Buster just tears this thing to shreds. You are not prone, but you're behind Buster's butt. So, but yeah, Buster just tears this thing apart. It is... you see a body. It doesn't dissolve or disintegrate or anything. Yeah. All right, that is Buster's turn. Nedry, your turn. I'm going to need you to make a check to extract yourself. I think from prone, no. Yeah. Well, like a grapple escape, like so athletics or acrobatics. Okay. I think that's enough because Buster's not trying to restrain you. It's more just a matter of like, oh, look, that lump I felt was a person. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, yeah. It's like a workbench that's got various things on it, knickknacks that will perhaps be established at some point when you're not in combat. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is that an action? You used an action to escape from. Yeah. Sorry. Because it was like a grapple. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, we just lost your sound there. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So the Whisperer is dead. So Zinhorn, it is your turn, but you also must use your action to extract yourself from Buster. You could do that without the action, except that like you could tell him to get off of you, but then you'd have to wait for his turn. So okay. You currently, yeah, so you do not have line of sight on her currently. You can't see her at the moment because you are currently have Buster on top of you and you're on the ground. So I need you to make an athletics or acrobatics check to try to get out from under him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, when he scooted to try to get off of Nidri, he got himself further onto you. So, yeah. So you still have a bonus action. You can say whatever you want, but you are pinned at the moment. Hmm. Okay. All right. Yep. All right. That makes it, Carolina, your turn to make a death saving throw, please. That's a success. One success. All right, Zaylene, it is your turn. You were not actually in a grappled condition. You're just behind him, so you can get out from there. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, if you just move to like right here, you would have a direct line of sight on her. Okay. All right. Cool. So how much is that? All right. So Carolina, yeah, you know, you are awake, but you're very badly burned. Hmm. Did you have anything else, Celine, for your turn, or? Okay. Okay. It is the dragon's turn. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make a roll to see if it gets its breath weapon back. It does, but I think for the moment it's actually, because you went down and it's got more, it is tromping up out of the lava. And I think that you can see that it is not moving with the agility that you might normally expect from a dragon. It's kind of trudging like it weighs more than it should. It's, or it's just weak in some way. And you see that, like, now that it has come out of the lava, you see that some of what you thought were like ropes around it are actually just strangely like swollen and necrotic looking flesh on its scales. And it hmm? No. No. And it has tromped out of there, and it is, let's see, I think as it, let's see, yeah, everyone's aware of it. So as it comes out and says, in common, "Who dares invade my home?" And I need a wisdom saving throw from everybody, please. No, it is against being frightened. Okay. 19 just succeeds. It looks like Zinhorn and Carolina succeed. Let's see. I think, yeah, Buster can't succeed on that. Can't get high enough. Yeah, I think that at this roar, the everyone except Carolina and Zinhorn currently has the frightened condition. Um, and I think that it finishes tromping over to you, Carolina, and it's going to try to grapple you in one of its enormous clawed hands. So let's see, it's rolling. Yeah. So what was your athletics or acrobatics to avoid being grappled? Unless, of course, you just submit to it. I wouldn't think so, but so let's see your roll to resist. Okay, it sort of grabs at you um, to try to to grab you, and you duck out of the way. Do you do a cool little flip or something? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. It responds by swinging its tail at you with a 30 to hit. Well, we'll see. Yeah, 21 to hit, 21 damage. Um, yeah, so it tries to grab Carolina, and she rolls out of the way, only to get swatted by the tail. And I think you fly kind of across the room and like crash into this pillar. All right, Wuta. Okay, nice. Okay. First, when you do your stillness of mind, what does that look like? What does that? It may not even look like anything from outside, but. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Nice. Okay. Well, how about a persuasion check? That's pretty good. Yeah. Um. All right. Okay. So that makes. Hmm. So it is Buster's turn. I think that he steps off of you, Zinhorn, and kind of hunkers down next to you. He licks your shoulder a little bit. All right, and so Nedry, your turn. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think that probably works. It doesn't say like willing target or something, does it? Hmm. Well, she wouldn't be able to resist it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that works. That's fine. She's incapacitated, which would mean she can't resist, which would mean the default would be, yeah, okay. I just, yeah, yeah. All right, so, whoop. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, because, mm-hmm. All right. Zinhorn, it is your turn. Mm-hmm. It is in pieces, and it doesn't seem like that's improving. Yeah, now she is, thanks to Nedry. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. You're you're awake and you're still very badly burned, but a bit better. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Mm-mm. Yeah. How do I not ever remember that I need to make that more readily available? That little token. There we go. Where so I will give you control over it, and you can put it where you want it. Um, in a moment here. Okay, you should have control on it. Mm-hmm. Okay. That makes it your turn, Zaline. Okay. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to skip you. I'm sorry. Mm. Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yes, you've woken up in a very different place now, Carolina. But you are surrounded by your friends. Yeah. Yeah. You only have half your movement though, because you were prone. You're one. That's one too many squares. It's three squares. Mm-hmm. So you can squeeze past, but you can't end in a space where one of them are, and you can't be in that square either because that's basically where this safe is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have Whisperer on your shoes, but you can get there. I'm also going to just briefly say that I can certainly understand why it would be easy to make the mistake, but the dragon is she. You were told that by the Azers. Hmm. It's easy to do. In re-listening to an old campaign 1 episode, I noticed myself. It's just somehow dragons seem like default to, you know. But yes, Oneira is a she dragon. Hmm. Go ahead and make a persuasion check. Okay, yeah, yeah. All right. Well, so now it is Zaylene's turn. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Y'all are lucky you got some high persuasion rolls because you also just kind of set yourself where like she could just march right up to the opening of the cave and and fill that entire room with fire breath. But yeah, so I think though she does kind of like she's almost staggering a little bit as she moves forward, but is peering through this cave opening with lucid, intelligent eyes, um, and at this point says, "Have you come to steal from me?" Or to volunteer to join my workforce. Uh, I would say we are out of initiative for the immediate short term, but it could start right back up again at any moment. Heard incorrectly, but from whom? At this point, the dragon's surveying this room. Like at this, like she's just stuck her whole long dragon neck like in through this tunnel and is kind of peering around the room, where her the rest of her body is completely blocking the tunnel opening. And at this point, takes in the remains of the Whisperer and says, "You slay my most loyal advisor? You appear in my treasure hoard, and you say you do not come to steal. You have taken my advisor." Um, Make a deception check. 17's not bad. Let's see, what should it be for really? I'm surprised by this stat, but whatever. Um, you know what? Look, I'm not even actually. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have had you make the check because I think Onaira is just not going to believe that. I think I'm sorry. I think that's just not something she would believe. Or how about this? Because you got rolled high enough, the demand is saying, prove your accusation promptly, lest I roast you where you stand. Bah! This is where your lack of understanding has led you to folly. My advisor was advising me on the process of becoming immortal. I feel powerful. I have been undergoing a metamorphosis into a mighty Dracolich. It is only logical that I would experience the change. Die in the sense of leaving behind the life as I knew it before, but only to become more powerful and immortal. Um, I want to interrogate that just a little bit, just because. How would are you just making this up, Zaleen, or based on your because you don't know anything about being a Dracolich? Okay, but okay, well, I guess what I'm saying is though that like I mean, but it right now it is a little bit like you're trying to just actively contradict knowledge that the dragon has and you don't. You know what I mean? Like and it's so I think it's one thing to challenge the advisor's intentions, but what you were kind of doing is trying to say that that's not what being a Dracolich is, or to challenge that. And I think that. And what would you know about it? Intruders. Make a persuasion check with advantage. Uh, no, no, like no need to. The fear doesn't need to enter into this part. Okay. There's like when you like. I think all of you kind of observed a little bit of a face journey from this dragon when Nedry was talking, because on the one hand, very angry. On the other hand, kind of likes how scared he is. On the third hand, when he says dreams, that there's a moment of going quiet and just smoke trailing from the nostrils. What do you know of the dreams? Okay. Well, yes and no, because you pulling out what appears to be some kind of a magical item in the middle of this conversation, I think you kind of reach into a pocket and suddenly find yourself eye to eye with the dragon, and the dragon is saying, "What are you doing?" Make a persuasion check. Okay. The dragon kind of like sits back on her haunches, and she's clearly like looking a bit thoughtful, but not moving aside from the cave entrance. Um, and I think there is just a moment of like looking to you, Zinhorn, and saying, "The next item that is removed from any container, or weapon drawn, or spell cast, will do so with my permission, or will be followed by fire." Looking. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I know. I think that's why I was just thinking. That's why I was smiling, was just because Wuta is making this plea based on like what he said, I guess. You know. um, I think she's looking thoughtful, but at this point, you see like some of this sort of black necrotic flesh sort of like almost sort of throb a little bit, and she kind of shakes it off and looks to all of you and says, "Understand, I had been working with my advisor for some time, and now you slay them and tell me a different story. I require from you proof of what you say." Uh, the dreams of my subjects are beneath my concern. Um, her head suddenly like twitches, like she kind of heard something, and then she just says, "Traitors! Traitors who have hired adventurers to come and rob me! You have been caught!" I require proof. If my disbelief of you still requires proof, then I would be a fool to allow you to use an unknown magical item on me. For all I know, you are merely trying to stop my ascension into Dracolichdom. You said you had seen one like this before. Where? Do you say that? Perhaps not the best place for you. Stories. No. If you can if you can produce another creature of this kind, I will consider that demonstration enough that you are knowledgeable on this subject. If you wish it dead, I shall slay it. You do realize how suspicious it seems that you slay my advisor before they can contradict your story, and you wish me to slay another of their kind, again, without listening to their side. There are things you know that are difficult to explain. Perhaps you tell the truth. If you can produce this creature, I will slay it promptly. Okay. All right. Let me well, yes. No, so I think you might have been able to beat your like the fear. I think. Hang on. I think the fear effect would have. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair. So I just mean like mechanically. It's yeah. So let me get correct. I mean, it is entirely rational and reasonable to be as afraid as you think you would be, but it's no longer having a magical effect. So let me get the right token. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, let me double check. Stats. Okay. And you kind of are able to sort of, well, I guess what are you, where are you trying to spit him out? The spiritual weapons would have been done. I have to delete those. Yeah, so I think Onira moved back a little bit with the implication that you're gonna like spit this monster out for her. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. There we go. Right. Okay, so what Tanglefoot's going to do is roll initiative. And I think it's the simplest for everyone else to just stay on the same initiative they were on before. Uh, did it go on? There we go. Um, okay, so Tanglefoot is sort of expelled from the bag of holding, and I'll have them make a dexterity saving throw to see if they land prone. Um, yeah, no, I think they kind of do a little roll and land up on their feet. Um, so here's I'm going to give all of you. We're in the initiative, so it's Zinhorn first. Are you taking any action at this time? Well, okay. So bear in mind, look at the kind of where everybody's certainly currently standing here, and mhm. Also bearing in mind like what you're all doing here. Okay, fair. All right. Holding an action to what? Attack him if he attacks anyone else, or Okay. Alrighty. Flame strike is that target just like one creature? What's the area of effect of that? 'Cause this is a big one. Okay, but yeah, okay. Yeah, 10-foot radius is pretty big. You couldn't like you couldn't hit Tanglefoot without also hitting the dragon. Although you suspect the dragon probably doesn't mind fire so much. Hmm. Okay. Bearing in mind that if you don't end up casting it, you still lose the spell slot. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, Carolina. Okay. Okay. Um. All right. So what the trigger is if what? Sorry, I was looking at something else. Sure. Sure. Okay. Okay. Zaleen. Okay. All right. So before the dragon has had an opportunity to attack, Tanglefoot uh, lands, looks around, looks up at the dragon. Whoa! And then he kind of glances back over his enormous shoulder at all of you and just saying, kind of goes, peace, and disappears. It is a spell. Okay, count. So yeah. So what's the check to for a higher level spell? Um. Oh, so you're casting counterspell with a 5th level spell. All right. So let's see. As a 5th level spell. Okay. So yeah, you do still have to make the check. Looking for a 17. Okay, well, so that's Arcana, which is not the same thing as your intelligence modifier, right? I think it's just without the proficiency. Well, but doesn't that mean it's just your intelligence? That looks like it was, yeah, so an 11 plus your intelligence modifier, which is what? 16? Plane shift is a 7th level spell. Yeah, sorry. Your counter spell starts, creating the little arcane sigils to tear apart the spell, but it's just too late as he disappears into smoke. And just right after that, the dragon's immediate claw just like tears through right where it was, and then looks around like, you know. And I think the dragon says, "What is this? You seek to fool me with illusions?" Make a persuasion check with advantage. Okay, 21. Yeah, so I think that, yeah, Onaira kind of sits back. You can see some of the paranoia sort of clearing out of her eyes again, and she just kind of sags, looking very tired, and just. Perhaps there is truth in what you say. You have done as I asked and provided the proof that you knew a creature of this kind. And the truth is that I would have once had the speed necessary to stomp that thing flat before it could have cast a spell. But I am weaker, slower, since its influence. Dragon sort of sits back on its haunches, kind of just straightens up and looks down at you sort of imperiously and says, I command it. And I think that's actually where we will end tonight's session. Ah, but yes, so. Oh man, I was honestly like so torn about like that would actually be real. Like on the one hand, this is villain who's going to get away, which is great for me as a GM, but at the same time, that would have been such a clutch use of counterspell. So yeah, I was rooting for you, but it has to be fair. Um, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. So in any case, thank you everybody for listening and or watching to us play Dungeons and Dragons on so many levels. And uh, so we're not going to be back next week because I will be traveling and out of town. But the following week, we shall return for more Dungeons and Dragons on so many levels.